think that should suffice. Yes. So, new episode of Doctor Who drops, and Bowlestrek is has done a review of it already. He must have really thought it through. But anyway, because I'm me, I decided that I'm going to do what I did with Memory TV and a bunch of other things, where I begin to see a bit of a pattern. So I've made a bingo chart, which I'm going to put up here, and I'm going to I'm going to be ticking off things that I hear and see as I go along. And to prove I'm not cheating, I can't prove that I haven't watched this video yet. I could have gone through a mobile device and watched it from beginning to end and based this bingo sheet around it in a great conspiracy to cheat at Bowlestrek Bingo. But I've only just literally finished the fucking bingo card, so... Anyway, if any of these things are said or done, I get to tick them off. If I get a line, I'm going to laugh. If I get a full house, I'm going to piss myself laughing. Let us start.
Good lord, what did I just...
Good lord, got it. Haha, there's one.
Just watch. I know Russell the elitist hates fans, but this was next level.
Russ, shouting at Russell. I got that.
Didn't think it could get worse than Chibs the idiot, and I have been proven wrong again.
Backhanded compliment to Chibnall. Yep, we got that. So we got 3, and we're only 12 seconds in.
To think this was just a middle finger to the former fans who weren't even watching anyway because Dr. Nutty told...
Dr. Nutty! I got Dr. Nutty. I've got Dr. Nutty. Hold on a sec. I'm just gonna... I'd ideally like the... Okay, there we go. So, yeah, I kind of wish I'd put former fans in there. But it doesn't matter because I'm 18 seconds in and I've already got 4 boxes ticked.
Told them to go touch grass. Of course, this is where we learn that the shills, fake poser ideologues, and RTD sycophants will claim to love anything this dude puts out. This was awful and might actually be the worst episode in this long dead show's history. I mean, this is...
There was an episode where the main baddie was sleep from your eyes, and he came after you because you didn't get enough sleep. I mean, I've watched the classic era, and I watched... Yesterday, actually, I finished my entire binge of John Pertwee's first episode to Paul McGann's movie. I haven't watched the bits before John Pertwee. I've watched a couple, but my marathon was originally just interest in John Pertwee, and I just kept going and going. I couldn't stop. The brakes were off. I'm telling you fucking right now, if you claim that this is worse than the EastEnders special, you're not a real fan, because you've clearly not watched the EastEnders special. The EastEnders crossover. In fact, the Paul McGann movie is a fucking mindfuck, and that was worse than this. So...
bad on a whole new level. If I hadn't committed myself to reviewing this, something I'm starting to regret.
You actually committed yourself to not reviewing it, but...
because this is horrible, I'd rather spend an hour watching an elephant take a dump. I mean, it's fun.
I think I had a thing for this, or did I not? Yep, there we go. Complaining that he doesn't want to watch it whilst going on to watch it. Yep, that was it.
To laugh at, which is the point now.
Elephant taking a dump, I'm going to count as a baffling tangent. Because if that isn't one, he's going to have one, so...
Now, because nobody cares about saving the show, or even getting it cancelled anymore, it's just a running punchline of a bunch of delusional and egocentric idiots who think they're doing God's work, well, maybe Satan's work, except RTD, he's become a bitter old man that wants to make everyone else as bitter as he is. I'm not entirely sure why what I just watched...
So we're about 1 minute and 10 seconds in, and he has not fucking said shit, so I'm gonna poor review take... Actually, poor review take... okay. But I will say that all he's done is ranted about nothing for about 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Exists Probably a mix of things, all of them hilarious when taken into context, but let's laugh as we watch this show implode further and go over this glorious train wreck. We start with Princess Zumi being shocked at what she's about to witness. Yeah, we all are, dear. While the charismatically challenged Dr. Nutty seems quite proud of himself.
Okay, there are a lot of things I've heard people say about Ncuti Gatwa, and some of them are valid, and charismatically challenged is like, no. Like, that is the worst criticism you could throw at him. He's probably one of the most charismatic people on screen at all times.
But then, that's his normal state. Man, this dude is so full of himself. Princess Zumi says she can't just
He's full of himself because, you know, he has a personality.
Call Dr. Nutty the doctor. Well, we ain't calling him that either, but let him preen some more. She wants to know...
We're not calling him the doctor. It's totally because he's not, you know, he's not... It's not because he's black or anything. Nah. It's because, you know, we're not racist or anything. We've just decided this guy isn't the doctor, despite the fact that he clearly is. Like, in his performance, in his portrayal of the character, in every aspect, this guy is, but...
His name. No name, just Dr. Nutty. And he doesn't like people with your skin tone normally, but he's giving you a pass because you're special. Then he brings up the timeless children again, as RTD wants to further show his disdain for the...
Wait, I'm sorry, did I hear that right? Hold on.
Preen some more. She wants to know his name. No name, just Dr. Nutty. And he doesn't like people with your skin tone normally, but he's giving you a pass because you're special. Then...
What are you on about? You fucking joke. Like... Here's the thing, like, out of all the Doctor companions I can think of, I'd say 95% of them are white. There's, like, one who's debatably a companion who's Asian, and, like, a couple of black companions from the 2000 onwards period. Like, I think there's, like, 5 black companions in the show's history, and all the rest were white. And if we count Chan Lee from the 96 movie, there's one Asian dude. Unless I'm forgetting somebody, but I don't think I am.
Timeless children again, as RTD wants to further show his disdain for the no real fans that are actually watching this crap, but nice try. He says...
Real fans who are actually watching this crap, you mean the people who just complain about it all the fucking time. The thing is, though, the timeless child thing has happened. Like, it's like a lot of people don't like it. I don't like it, but I understand why Russell keeps like talking about it, and it's good that it is a talking point in the show, because otherwise it would be one of those things that no one mentions again, which is stupid. The Timeless Child, as much as I didn't like it as a thing, I get that, you know, we've always acknowledged every aspect, with the exception of 1996's stupid TV American Pilot stuff that was in the movie, like the Doctor being half human, which didn't make any sense. Other than stuff like that, no, it's fine. Like, I get totally why you'd reference it still and why you'd build on it still, because we've got it now, we might as well work with it. And there is good potential for a Timeless Child-based show. Like, there is good potential. You could have a spin-off show where every week you have a different Doctor at a different point, played by a different actor who wouldn't want to do it for a season, but might want to do it for an episode. You could have someone like Michael Sheen be the Doctor for an hour, or for a 2-parter, or something like that.
Gallifrey was very posh, kind of like the elitist twits behind this garbage. He says he's been using the name The Doctor for 1,000 years. Jesus, Russell, you couldn't even get that right. Didn't Stephen Moffat sell his soul and all his integrity to work on this nightmare? You know, you could have just asked him. Oh, wait.
I mean, the Doctor's age has never been right. Like, John Pertwee said he was 7,000 years old. David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston say they're 900. Then you got, like, Tom Baker, who's 700. And then, like, I think it was Colin Baker who was the first one to say he was 900 after that. So, when did the other, like, 900 years happen? Like, the other 200 years happen? And then there's all the extended media, where, like, Christopher Eccleston has, in 2 stories, been like in some form of situation where he's had to wait like 30 to 100 years to catch up to somebody else in time. So that would make him not 900 years old. So, like, you know, the Doctor's age has always been all over the place, and the consensus among fans is he lies about his age. Rule 1, the Doctor lies. And honestly, there's another theory as well, which I like a bit more, where it's implied that the age is the age of that incarnation when he says his age. And I could kind of buy that. I kind of like that theory. That's where all the adventures fit in. But, it's up to whoever, you know.
I see what you did there. You want to piss people off even further by getting facts wrong. Too bad they were all out touching grass. It seems Gallifrey is gone again. Well, I didn't watch the end of Dr. Nasty's run, and I've kind of blocked out the rest of the reign of Chibs the Idiot, so I have no idea where that plotline is now, and I don't care. But I'm sure Russell, the elitist twit, will bring that in at some point. These people never seem to have any new ideas.
Admits to not paying attention. I guess he just admitted to not paying attention. I guess I get that one.
So why not keep banging that long-dead plotline into the ground? You've only been pounding on it for nearly 20 years at this point. Princess Zumi tells Dr. Nutty to stop being ridiculous. He can't help it. His ego is telling him that he...
I mean, Russell admittedly... Well, A, he didn't pound on it for 20 years. He pounded on it for about 4 years. And then Moffat ended it. And then Chibnall was the one who brought it back. So your problem is with Chibnall. Russell, unlike last time, he is picking up what Chibnall left behind.
Is the height of style and modernity. Makes sense, I guess, because modernity is proof that hell exists. Next we get a trip to laughably bad CGI land, and
Laughably bad CGI land. Okay, Russell, here's the thing. These dinosaurs, right? Now, I get these ones probably aren't like the most detailed dinosaurs, but they're A, they're far away, and B, they're on screen for like 3 seconds at most, so, and they're on television budget. This dinosaur here is probably the one where they put the most effort, and it looks fine. If I sent this to my mate Gage, right, who's seen like all the Jurassic World movies, and I say, hey, do you remember this Brachiosaurus from Jurassic World or Jurassic Park? I'm pretty sure I could gaslight him into thinking that this was from Jurassic World or Jurassic Park. Because it looks good enough. I don't understand, like, none of this looks bad. Like, you could say it's not the world's greatest, but, like, it's not meant to be. It's literally a scene.
I see them checkboxes in the effects department.
Checkboxes, yeah! Ah, man, I'm so close to a line on line 2, but not quite yet.
Have been doing their best work again. Then we have a discussion about killing a butterfly and how that's impossible. Then
wait, did he say?
Then we land, and I see them checkboxes in the effects department have been doing their best work again. Then we have a discussion about killing a butterfly and how that's impossible. Then Princess Zumi kills a butterfly. Really, Russell? How clever. Nobody saw that coming. You wanker. And then Princess...
I mean, to be fair, it was like set up and payoff sort of bait and switch. I'll say if he doesn't find that funny or he thinks it was too obvious, fine. But really, it's an opening gag. It's not like... I mean, sure, okay.
Zumi turns into whatever the hell this is supposed to be.
It's a butterfly-human hybrid. I'm going to call this lack of comprehension. She steps on a butterfly and becomes a butterfly-human hybrid because that's the direction evolution took after she stood on it. Like, even I comprehend this, and my brain is literally breaking apart from medication withdrawal. How the fuck do you not understand this?
And starts talking like a Zoomer, meaning her programming took over. She talks about accusations and being generally terrible. Typical Zoomer talk.
I'm going to say that's insanity.
And Dr. Nutty brings the butterfly back to life because he could do that sort of thing now for reasons I don't care. And
you know what? I'm going to say nobody cares and I don't care are the same thing. You can call me out on that, but same energy. I think that's, you know. He brought to life his dead TARDIS by breathing into it. He can give his own life energy to other things. He's done this in at least 2 other episodes that I can think of. I can't remember what the other one was now, but I have seen him do it.
The butterfly effect is erased, as the losers behind this think that it will start a discussion among Doctor Who fans about the butterfly effect, But too bad you don't have any fans left. It seems Dr. Nutty forgot to push the butterfly compensation button. The what now? Actually, I don't care. Let's just move on so we can be done with this. Then we land on a
So we can be done with this. He's literally dragged out the first, like, 10... No, in fact, the first 3 minutes of the episode, he's dragged out to the first 4 minutes of the review, sorry.
Spaceship, and what is about to happen must be seen to be believed. I hear you saying, nothing can surprise us now. This
Well, he's not going to show it. He's just going to show this still image.
show has been at peak terrible for 6 years. As I say, just you wait. Princess Zumi mentioned something about Star Trek, and Dr. Nutty says he must visit them someday. You are aware they are different universes, right? Never mind. They probably don't even know that themselves. Sure.
The Dots has already visited the Trek universe twice. You'd know this if you were a real fan, Bowlestrek. But if you'd read Assimilation Squared, like a real fan would have, you'd know that Tom Baker and Matt Smith, in the same storyline, visited the Star Trek universe to fight the Cyberman and Borg coalition. You'd know this if you weren't a poser. You don't even like this show. You're just a fucking racist.
Bring it on! They can do a musical together and nobody will watch. Then they get chased by a monster, meant to represent the eventual ratings report. Dr. Nutty is wondering why the monster gave him the shivers because he likes meeting new things. Well, nothing else is in keeping with real Doctor Who, so why start now? Then we have babies in test tubes, and we learn that we were on a baby farm, and Dr. Nutty gets excited. This is normal to you people, isn't it? Is this the future? Do you know something we don't? Yeah, probably. This is Disney, after all. Princess Zumi seems surprised.
Okay, Disney conspiracy, Disney have baby farms or whatever the fuck he just said. I don't know what the hell that even meant. Like...
that the human race actually survived. Don't hold your breath, considering the way things are going. That's wishful thinking. Just ask Bill. Then we get reminded that the Time Lords are gone again, and I'm reminded that I don't care. Dr. Nutty tells us that he doesn't have a job. So, just like the losers that claim to like this. He also says he doesn't have...
I have a job and I like this, so... No, man.
a purpose. Oh, you do, my friend. Just ask Russell the pompous twit. Then Princess Zumi calls her mom, you know, the one that was only doing this for the money during that period when Princess Zumi didn't exist. Such a delightful person she is. Then...
Okay, again, I'd cross off lack of comprehension again if I could, but that might confuse me later down the line. Do you not understand, like, the purpose of, like... The scene was to establish that she was a worse person without Ruby in her life because she didn't have that thing to care about. Like, it's not a matter of... It's like being told that if you didn't meet your wife, you'd probably be an embittered drunk who nobody liked. But you met your wife and she saved you from that life because you cared about something and you were... That doesn't mean you're a horrible person at the start of your timeline. It means that you could have diverged into a lesser person because of your lack of experiences. You're a fucking... How do you claim to be into, like, sci-fi and stuff and you don't understand these basic concepts of time travel? It's a Wonderful Life kind of thing. It's like saying all the characters in It's a Wonderful Life are terrible people because we saw what they'd be like without... who was the guy? Jon Stewart? Whatever his name was.
Get ready for it. A baby comes in and...
I'll remember it at 3 AM in, like, 4 days' time.
Starts talking. I actually had to rewind to make sure watching this Drek hadn't already driven me insane. And yep, let's just say that again for clarification. RTD's season premiere, you know, the one that's supposed to attract viewers, well, let's be honest, it probably isn't, as RTD seems to be doing this out of spite, is to bring in talking babies. Then, as the reality of the situation hits me, I start laughing so hard I can't breathe. It seems there are no adults around. Sounds about right. Zoomers want to be rid of everyone that's managed to hit puberty, so it makes sense that this might be our future. Then the talking babies multiply, and it seems they think Dr. Nutty and Princess Zumi are mommy and daddy, and honestly, I think any normal people watching start to feel a bit uncomfortable at what they are seeing on screen. Anybody remember Baby Geniuses? That movie that's been relentlessly mocked for decades now? Yeah, that's their brilliant idea. As RT...
Well, as fair as a comparison as that is, I do feel that he kind of has not understood why people didn't like Baby Geniuses. People didn't like Baby Geniuses because there were several things in it that were inappropriate for a children's film. And I do mean actually inappropriate, not gay people existing. Like a woman does a bomb hoax and some other things to get her way, basically. And the film is just unpleasant to watch. It's boring, it's frustrating, it's annoying, and it's like 3 times longer than this fucking episode. Now, I will give him one thing. The babies talking did not look very convincing. It was like Super Bowl baby commercial level of quality. But honestly, I've watched like really shitty slug puppets. You see, the thing is, he's constantly shitting on this. He's praising the era that I've just watched. The era that I've just watched was week after week of some form of shellfish or insectoid running a spaceship and talking shite for ages. That was like the villain of every episode. Between like Tom Baker's midterm and like Colin Baker's exit was just that again and again. Just every other week it felt like it. It never ended. So honestly, yeah, I'm not against just weird shit if it's, interesting. And if it's for a single episode and the episode's not that good, like whatever. And this was fine. Like I can understand it not being anyone's favorite episode, but it's fine.
The bitter twit seems hellbent to give us the worst show of all time. I know, dude.
Bowlestrek, watch the fucking EastEnders special again. Watch the EastEnders special again, bruv. Or watch Trial of the fucking Time Lord from beginning to end. Because that was insufferably boring. It's just hours of just pretentious shite.
Dude, but come on. Talking babies? Your brilliant idea is talking babies. Congrats, Chibs. Even you couldn't come up with an idea.
I mean, you've got a spaceship full of talking babies. There's your intrigue for a sci-fi episode.
This stupid. I find myself wondering how the RTD sycophants...
By the way, he's not even 10 minutes into the episode. I just want to point out, not even 10 minutes into the episode, and he's about a third of the way through the review. Jesus Christ.
Are going to claim this is a work of genius, and following the loser's playbook, they refer to it as fun. Kind of like the Marvels. When something's so bad it's next level bad, they call it fun. Oh, you had explosive...
I won't call the Marvels fun, but honestly, I don't know why people got so angry at the Marvels. I watched it, kind of hoping I might even have something to talk about on the channel. There wasn't anything to talk about. It was just so nothing. It was just... I don't even remember most of it. The only thing I remember was the cats eating people, because that was kind of funny. Especially when they were like, oh yeah, please just let the cats eat you so we can get you out of here. And everyone's running for their lives, not listening. That was like the only bit in the whole film that I found remotely funny. It was like the sort of thing you get in like that Seth MacFarlane Star Trek series or something of that nature.
Diarrhea and didn't make it to the toilet in time. What fun! Good lord! It seems the adults just abandon the babies, while modern-day parents have abandoned parenting for the last few decades. That's how we ended up with Zoomers, and God help us when Generation Alpha reaches their 20s, so I guess it just makes...
You know what? He keeps talking about fucking generations and shit, because that helps divide people. I'm gonna say that implies something about himself, especially now he's talking about daddy abandoning. I've got a feeling this is more of a personal thing, so I'm taking that.
They just give up being...
I've got a line now. It's also boring listening to him go on these tangents.
Present altogether, as long as they still get that benefits money. It seems that they are technically...
What are you ranting on about? What does this have to do with anything? What does benefits money and fucking daddy not leaving you when you were 7 years old? He went to buy some fucking milk and never came back, Bowlestrek. What does this have to do with the show or the episode or its events? You're not even 10 minutes into the episode and you've got to wrap up the whole thing in 2 minutes.
Adults, but didn't physically grow up. Zoomers then. Then Dr. Nutty tells Captain Baby that he was adopted.
Zoomers would be the opposite. They'd physically grow up, but be mentally babies. You can't even do that shit right.
Okay, time for a drinking game. How many times can RTD bring that up in every episode? We get it, dude. You hate the former fans. You know, the ones that made your show a success. We get it. Now move along. Then Dr. Nutty starts telling Captain Baby how...
I mean, the former fans made the EastEnders special possible, so I'd hate them too.
awesome he is. No!
Sorry, I watched it yesterday, and I have, like, I'm currently working on a script for a review of it, but fucking hell. Like, I try to be positive, but Jesus. Like, I am positive in the review, and I do have positive things to say about it, but my god, is it a trip. And this arsehole thinks that that was the golden age of things. I don't think there's ever been a golden age. I've watched all of the classic era up from Pertwee to whatever, and I've watched, like, a few Hartnell and Troughton ones. Admittedly, Hartnell and Troughton are harder to watch because a lot of those stories are missing or broken, and some of them are just really fucking boring. I watched the Aztecs and found it so boring, I actually noticed I'd missed an entire part. I zoned out, did something completely different, and wasn't paying attention to any of the story. And that was the golden age of the show? Like...
I'm not making that up. This is a scene...
Wait, what is he not making up?
No, the ones that made your show a success. We get it. Now
Sorry,
move along.
I went on a tangent on my own, but I don't know if anyone can blame me. This is...
Then Dr. Nutty starts telling Captain Baby how awesome he is. No, I'm not making that up.
Because babies are easily impressed, and he wants to entertain the baby by making something up about himself to make himself seem cool. And also, he doesn't. He sits there and he says, I am unique and impressive, but so are you. And that's true of everyone in the world. That's what he says. Now, you might like that, you might not, but you don't misconstrue shit.
This is a scene that actually happened. Next, we learn that the computer is their nanny. Yep, definitely in keeping with the future of humanity, and this is followed by blowing snot. Then the babies get scared of the boogeyman. They don't like the boogeyman. Well, I don't like this.
Well, to be fair, you have something in common because you believe there's some big gay boogeyman who's trying to... the big woke boogeyman with the message.
It seems the pressure is building up in the ship, and Dr. Nutty says the result will be a baby boom. Whatever, just go on. I really, really want this to be over. Next, Dr. Nutty starts building...
Why are you dragging it out then? You've dragged out the first 10 minutes to 80% of the fucking review at this point. You absolute chode.
Up the arc of Princess Zumi's origin story. Whatever, I'm sure we'll have something to do with white dudes are bastards and the source of all evil. Can we please just move on and get this over with? Then we...
Nobody's... I'm tempted to tick racism, but then, I won't.
learn that their nanny is actually not the computer, but a real person, and this whole situation is the government's fault. Gee, Russell, I wonder what political party you might be referring to here. I guess we'll never know because it's a mystery. Then the show turns into a...
So you're a Tory, okay.
diatribe about refugees. You people could at least try to be a bit less predictable. Then Baby...
Refugees aren't necessarily based on race, so I'm just going to call it racism. I'd say no. Nah, I can't in good conscience. Okay, fair enough.
decides he's going to take on the monster. This is not going to end well, baby.
Yeah, but this baby's based. I mean, he's got a little wooden knife. He's like he's like that eager first D&D player who knows the monsters in the dungeon. Like, I'm going to be brave, and then he fucking dies, and everyone laughs. That's what this baby's energy is.
Really, people, you have to stop lying to kids and telling them that there's nothing they can't do because it's never going to end well. And just like your average...
I mean, that's kind of what happens in the episode. Like, she says something which encourages him to attack the monster, and then she realizes that it's her fault that he's attacking the monster, even if it's not entirely. Because she said something that he misconstrued into being attack the monster. And that's...
Zoomer, when faced with the real world, it doesn't end well for Baby. Actually, Baby...
Well, to be fair, the real world isn't a giant fucking boogeyman. I would say more about the boogeyman, but we haven't even got to that point in the episode because you fucking shit up this review.
He just went and hid, like your typical Zoomer when faced with actual adversity. Then...
Or a bit like you know, when someone asks you to do a debate that's not just with someone who already agrees with everything you say and do. You're the one who has a problem with adversity, because you can't handle the idea that someone breaks down your broken, delusional world.
The babies have flamethrowers, and the level of absurdity on the screen increases. It seems the monster has been splooging all over.
I mean, the babies are in charge of the ship, so them having it's also not a flamethrower. I don't think. I think it's something they made. Like it's like because the pipes are shooting out flames all the time, so the babies use that as a weapon, if I remember right. But like regardless, it's not absurd at this point for flamethrower babies because babies are on the ship and the ship has a form of flamethrower thing. So that's not absurd at this point.
Over the ship. Really, Russell? Then Princess Zumi gets splooged on. It seems the ship created the monster. This
Have I got a box for her getting splooged on that was...
is what happens when you don't hire the best people for the job. You end up with a monster that's...
I'm gonna call that diversity hires. I could tick racism, homophobia, and all the other, but I won't.
Splooges on people. Then we learn that the monster was created...
What are you on about, you fucking weirdo?
out of literal snot. Really? Did a 6-year-old write this? Then
Ice Sleep Monster from the Moffat era that you keep praising.
Dr. Nutty saves the snot monster from death because the only villains to be destroyed going forth are white dudes.
But he hasn't killed any white dudes. Like, they didn't even kill the guy who was trying to fuck over Rosa Parks from the future, the space racist. Because they sent him back to dinosaur times. Which he probably would have died, because, you know, he's a stupid racist. And if he's anything like you, he probably would have spent like 5 years banging rocks together whilst crying and making cave scrollings about how dinosaur times was more woke than everyone told him it was. But apart from that...
Then the babies and the monsters start howling. Then they power the ship using baby poop, and the ship breaks wind. Yeah, that was written. Then Dr. Nutty gives Princess Zumi the TARDIS key so she can join him on his adventure in degeneracy, but we learn that they can't go back to the church.
I'm gonna say degeneracy is like, because he's been calling it degenerate this whole time, like, but it's always in reference to fucking gay shit, so.
Where Princess Zumi was born. Why? I really don't care. I'm just glad this is over. But then, it's not because they dropped 2 turds at once, and this is just the first. And if you think this is terrible, things turn up a notch with the second turd. So I'll see you for more unintentional comedy, and God help us. And that's it for today. Don't forget to follow me on X, and until next time, suck it.
Well, that was a thing. I don't know if I'm gonna bother with the second one with Maestro of him reviewing, but I might. I don't know. I'm kind of interested though because there's a reference to William Hartnell in the episode, and I wonder how he's going to take that because I've got a feeling now the double standard will be instead of it not catering enough to old fans, now that it is catering to old fans, there's going to be a reason why that's terrible and Russell should die for it. I don't know what that reason will be, but you know. So yeah, that was Bowlestrek failing to understand anything again, and my bingo card has 2 lines and an across. Sadly though, it's not a full house. We're missing the message woke. Amazingly, I would have thought that would have come up. The baseless paedophile accusations surprisingly didn't come up. I would have thought that he would have said something along the lines of, I don't know, you're in heaven, aren't you, you weirdos, when there's a ship full of unattended babies, but apparently he didn't say anything like that, so I'm going to give it to him. Some of these I'll forgive people who tell me that, oh, you know, you tick these based off of implication, or you tick these based on... I mean, that's fair, but it didn't really come to anything in the end, so... I mean, I stand by some of them, but some of them, like homophobia being linked to degeneracy, it is what I believe he's talking about, but I understand if you'd give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm just not willing to, because the dude lies. We didn't get Think of the Children somehow. Okay. And we also didn't get Doctor Who was awesome in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, which is something he likes to say a lot. He usually says that in his more outside of the show analytical things. And he didn't for this one. Oh, that's sad. So yeah, I was missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe next time. But yeah, I might make a few of these for people who are, who if anyone watches the Bowlestrek videos, I might just make a community post and people can with a few bingo cards and people can download the bingo card and have an interactive fun time. I'll see if I've got the energy for it. I do have a full-time job now, so it's, energy's not always there. But well, I might. Anyway, okay, so in the amount of time it has taken me to edit this shit together, Bowlestrek has released a second review, which is The Devil's Chord, and I still have my bingo card. Now, a few people have seen my bingo card on Twitter at this point, and a few people have seen my bingo card in other places, and a lot of people find this shit hilarious. I'm gonna see if I can finally get a full house on the Devil's Chord review. Let's see. I've accidentally listened to like a minute of it whilst trying to get the audio levels right because there's trans people and drag queens and a black man in this, so obviously Bowlestrek is screaming like a child who's just trapped his finger in a door and severed it. So yeah, I've done my best with the volume levels. I once had a video completely ruined because this man screams non-stop in his videos, and it's awful to listen to. But anyway, here we go.
Well, as if Space Babies wasn't bad enough, Space Babies says, "Hold my beer," as we...
So Space Babies said to itself, "Hold my beer." Bowlestrek, this is a 9-minute long edited video. Allegedly. You couldn't have re-recorded that line. It's the opening line, you fucked it. This guy has 40,000 subs and gets 3,000 views in an hour. Meanwhile, here's me actually fucking putting work in and I don't even get a quarter of that, whatever.
Get to experience the second episode in this 8-pack of misery-inducing dreck expelled like a fountain of putrid vomit right out of the pits of hell. We start in 1920.
That's quite the, I'm going to call that a tangent. I'm going to call it a tangent. I'm also going to call that complaining that he doesn't want to watch it whilst watching it. And where's tangents? Because I swear that was one. I want to say shouting at Russell, but I won't. Baffling tangent, that was it. It's right next to the fucking thing. How did I not see that? Okay.
Where this toxic dude is teaching this kid some classic stuff on the piano machine, and I wonder, haven't these been cancelled yet? By that I mean classic songs or anything that isn't crap. Oh, just you wait, because everything that existed prior to the brainwashed Zoomers has been cancelled by direct order of the brainwashed Zoomers. They know best, because the rest of us are just old and stupid. Although,
I mean, you kind of have, you kind of exhibited why that's actually a fair point.
Judging by the ratings, few people...
Also, I'm going to call this a poor review take, because he's not describing the plot, he's just getting angry at nothing, because that's not what the episode's about. He knows that's not what it's about, and he's wasting people's time by having this stupid rant.
People seem to have been stupid enough to be tricked into watching this pile of ass again. Oh no, what will
Oh no, they've been tricked into watching a show that they like.
RTD and his Friends of Destruction do now?
I'm going to call that shouting at Russell. We've got shouting at Russell.
Don't worry, Disney is perfectly happy to spend other people's money.
Disney conspiracy. We're a minute in and we've got about 5. This is good.
Until they run out of money.
You know what? I'm going to call this complete lack of comprehension as well. Because he seems to... I don't know. Everything he said here is just like... I don't even know what he's trying to think. I don't think he even thinks, is what I'm getting at.
They'll just find new ways of stealing money. I mean, the BBC's been doing...
Okay, I've got to ask, right? How is it fucking stealing money if the BBC and Disney say, we are going to make a TV show, and they make a TV show, How is that stealing money? That is the worst fucking money laundering scheme I've ever heard of in my fucking life. Or whatever Bowlestrek thinks it is. Like, are you telling me that he seems to think that if I buy a fuck ton of flour and then make a form of bread that he doesn't like, that's stealing money? That doesn't make sense unless you're Bowlestrek.
Doing that for years. Henry the Kid says this classical stuff is old and stuffy, as the target audience probably thinks that hip-hop or that horrific modern crap that they call music was popular in 1929. Actually, they probably do. If it ain't on TikTok,
Actually, several hip-hop tracks and a couple of rap tracks are based on classical music. One that comes to mind is Imaginary Places by Crazy Bus Driver. So, you know, get your facts right.
just assume. Time to bring in Halsey to make your ears bleed. Then Henry gets introduced to the Devil's Chord. Makes sense, as this abomination claiming to be Doctor Who was clearly inspired by Satan. Then the piano slams its lid down on the old dude. Take that, you evil patriarchal bastard! Then something straight out of hell pops out of the piano, and we are introduced to, well, I'll let the image speak for itself.
I kind of like... He's like straight out of hell. Admittedly, the character is meant to have that vibe, but we all know what he meant, so I'm just going to call that homophobia. Let's go.
I'm going to refer to this one as Attention Seeker. Also,
yeah, I'm going to call that homophobia.
A special note to the nobody that watched this one, you may want to keep your kids far, far away from this episode.
Baseless pedophile accusations, let's go. You also might want to keep your kids away from Bowlestrek's mate. I think it was Bowlestrek's mate. It was like Melon Ratner or somebody. Was it? I don't want to say it was him, and I don't want to say it was Nerdrotic, but it was one of those guys who fucking said that when he thought Millie Gibson was leaving, I'm gonna miss those tits, referring to a 19-year-old girl. But you know, the Jinx Monsoon's apparently the person we should keep kids away from, not these people who literally say things that sexualize 19-year-old girls when they're in their fucking 40s. Yeah, because those guys aren't the pedophiles. No. Why would they be? I'm not saying that they are, but like when you make comments like that on your public fucking platform, yeah, I'm saying it. You're a nonce.
Then Attention Seeker refers to itself as them. You're not even 2 minutes into the episode, Russell. Whatever. Go on. Then we learn that Attention Seeker is Henry's daddy. Wait, doesn't that imply a gender? You know what? I can't get into it. It's just gonna make my head hurt. Then Henry...
To be fair, basic concepts make your head hurt, so...
disappears, and Attention Seeker refers to itself as Maestro. Yeah.
Admittedly, Maestro is a god, so it makes reality and logic its bitch as a god.
No, you're not. You're Attention...
Well, I should say they rather than it. I don't know why it's a pronoun of a god, but it just sort of is. I'm sorry, it's very late and I'm sort of doing this very ad hoc. I apologize.
Attention Seeker. Deal with it. Mommy and Daddy didn't give you enough attention, and now we all have to suffer for it. Then it calls...
I think that's basically the backstory of Bowlestrek, to be honest.
Self-music. Well, the ego explodes further. And no, dear, you aren't music. You are further proof that hell exists. Also, how does one identify as music? Man!
Oh, think of the children. I'm gonna call... I'm gonna take that off. He's crying about music as well. So I've almost got a line.
Y'all are really stretching this, aren't you? Then the old dude's music is set free. 5 minutes in and this is horrible. And there's another 45 minutes to go.
Sorry.
Hell!
I find this funny because he's only got 5 minutes into the review, but he's already a fifth of the way through his review. That's worth noting.
I'm in hell! Then, God help us, we cut to Dr. Nutty and Princess Zumi.
Dr. Nutty! Yes!
And Princess Zumi wants to hear the Beatles cut their first album, probably so they can cancel them for being old and toxic. But I'm not even sure they're sure because...
I mean, John Lennon was like the ultimate leftist in the 80s. I kind of would have liked to have seen fucking, like, John Lennon from the 80s fucking Like, he would have fucked shit up when he stopped caring and just went on his, like, oncoming storm arc. It's like, they should have had John Lennon from the 80s, like, in the future episode. Sorry, they should have. I don't know why my tenses are all over the place right now, but they should have him in the future and then get Christopher Eccleston to play him again because he did a great job. I think it's the only way we can get Eccleston to come back to Doctor Who.
The writing in these episodes is a bit of a mess. Dr. Nutty seems...
The writing in this episode isn't that much of a mess. Like, the plots make sense in the context. I understand talking babies doesn't exactly make sense, but the reason that the babies talk is there, and the plot does make sense. There are elements that explain other elements, and it all fits together. Saying that the writing doesn't make sense is just I've already ticked lack of comprehension. I'm going to call it insanity because he's just denying reality. He's just basically saying, oh, these don't actually make sense, but he can't say why because they do make sense. He's just too stupid to follow it, or he doesn't want it to make sense.
Grumpy, but then says it's amazing. Oh, this episode sure is amazing, Dr. Nutty, but not in the way you think. We head to 1963, and Dr. Nutty decides to transform into a pimp. Easy there, dude. Then they do a little...
Pimp. I thought the pimp look was like Zemos from Saints Row 3. That's not the pimp look to me. Like the big hat and the cane and the shirt that says, I seduced your mum and your dad whilst waiting for you to come home. That's the pimp look to me. Not this is more like fancy 60s look. But whatever.
Musical
maybe Bowlestrek's pimp looked like this, and it you know what I'm gonna say implies something about Bowlestrek. That his pimp dressed in a snazzy 60s suit and had a bit of an afro going, and it invokes some memories.
And none of us will look at Abbey Road in quite the same way again. This is going to be the whole episode, isn't it? Then we learn what the...
It wasn't. They go to Abbey Road like twice.
Beatles will
once on the way and once on the way back.
Look like if all traces of testosterone were removed.
That is what the Beatles basically look like. I get that some people who have like an old photo would be like, you know what, I'm gonna say that he's basically admitted there to not paying attention. But yeah, hold on a second. I'm going to do something for Bowlestrek because he's really fucking dumb. I'm going to educate his stupid ass. 1963 Beatles. Let's educate. Right, Bowlestrek. I don't know if he's not going to watch this, but I don't know why I even said I don't know if he'll ever. I need you to explain how these boys look different to these boys. That is the photo of the real Beatles. All four of them. Ringo regenerated into, the Ringo we all know and love. He used to go by a different name at the time. But that's all four of the Beatles. Explain to me, in fact I'll get them back on screen again just for Bowlestrek's benefit, how these four look different to these four, to the point where these four have lost all testosterone and these four haven't. Do you just not know what the Beatles look like? It's okay if you don't, but I do get to tick lack of comprehension and admits to not paying attention, because you should know at least a little bit about the Beatles if you're going to criticize the show for not being very Beatles accurate. You see, I didn't criticize it for that because I don't know and I don't care. But then again, I'm not an idiot like you.
The Beatles of current year, my friends, as 1963 dies a little inside.
They're the Beatles of 1963, you absolute chode. Like, I'm not even, like, I can't say anything else. He's a chode. How the fuck do you fuck it up that badly that you think that these guys are wrong? Those are the haircuts, those are the outfits, those are basically the faces. I get that they haven't got the exact faces of the Beatles from 1963, but For all intent and purposes, they are the Beatles from 1963. Does he just think that they dressed up on, like, the Sgt. Pepper album for their entire run, or some shit like that? Because I don't know what the hell Bowlestrek thinks the Beatles are, but they aren't what he thinks they are.
And the masculinity challenged imitation Beatles sing a song that sounds like something out of 2024, i.e., horrible. And there's your plot. Attention seeker turned music into trash. Well, it's gonna head that way anyway. I guess it helps to hurry things along. Everybody's depressed and miserable. So
It's kind of funny, he kind of faltered there because he kind of realized that the joke that he would have made has been made for him.
again, it's just like 2024. Princess Zoomy says you can't kill music. Oh yes you can, just ask the Zoomers. Then we have a discussion with...
I think, honestly, music went to shit when I was a kid. Like, I remember between, like, 2005 and 2015, music just turned into fucking computers making shitty sounds and people just singing about getting drunk and having sex for about 10 years. There were one or two that broke the trend, but for 10 years I just despised listening to anything that came out because that's all it was about. It was shallow shit written by people who weren't very smart. And the few things that actually were kind of decently put together, like that was it Katy Perry singing about Russell Brand, Supernatural? They fucked that up by putting Kanye West in it. Like, at least that was like a metaphorical song that was about, you know, her relationship, about him being from space. It wasn't the most in-depth and brilliant thing ever, but it actually had some meaning behind it. But yeah, they fucked that up with modern shit. So you being like, oh yeah, the Zoomers have ruined music. No, music has been going to shit for fucking decades. It's gotten worse with every decade. It's been a gradual decline. Some people might disagree with that entirely, but that's my take on it, and I think it's more nuanced than the Zoomers ruin music.
Imposter Paul and Imposter John, and we learn that music isn't supposed to be good, and they're just doing this for a grift. Grifting. So kind of like the losers on YouTube that pretend to like this. It seems that...
No, that's more like you. You're a loser who pretends to not like this, but tunes in every week just to fucking cry about it. Because if you make positive videos, they don't get fucking views because your content is garbage. Like, here's the thing. Was it Melon Ratner? Or... I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, I don't care. Or, Nerdrotic or one of them. They made a video talking about how much they loved Godzilla vs. Kong. And it was a positive review. And it got about 1/10 of the views. Because people come to watch these people scream like apes. And they get paid for it. And then they call other people grifters? They call Mr. TARDIS a grifter. He's been covering Doctor Who pretty much every week since 2010. Mr. TARDIS started out on this fucking platform when I started out. In like 2009 or something. 2010 actually. 2010 it was. I remember because I did the Stephen Gandhi documentary. And he's been doing that shit through thick and thin. He's been through shit. He's been through every kind of bad thing anyone could have gone through as a content creator, and he's bounced back every time. Well, maybe not every kind of bad thing, but a lot of the bad things that you can go through as a content creator. If he was doing this for a grift, he probably would have given up at some point because he would have made enough money. The dude cares about this. In fact, he works in the industry. If it was about fame and grift, he would have probably quit by now because he works in the industry. He enjoys this. And he wants to talk about the show, and he wants to give his opinion, and he wants to help shape the show. You just want to kill it. There was somebody who said, and I don't know who it was, but they said that good content cannot come from hate. And Bowlestrek is a case study of that. He hates so much that he just makes shit. If I wrote this, right, and wanted feedback, honest feedback about what I could do to improve it, and I watched this fucking dog shit, like, what would I get? The Beatles don't look like the Beatles. Yeah, they do. Dark Princess Zoomy. Zoomers. Okay, that's nothing to do with me. Why are you crying about that shit? But anyway, I digress.
The imposter Beatles might have non-terrible music stuck in the back of their heads. There, careful now. Allowing anything that isn't beyond horrible on Disney Plus is going to have some serious consequences. That kind of thing simply isn't allowed. Then we learn what happens as Imposter Paul tries not to be terrible for a second, and Attention Seeker shows its face. Don't say I didn't warn you. Then Imposter Paul calls Dr. Nutty disgusting. Well, then we get...
I'm gonna call that racism.
an environmental message about smog, and Dr. Nutty defiles the first Doctor by mentioning his name. Then
I called it. I said he'd get pissed off because they referenced the classic series, and now it's a bad thing to reference the classic series. These people can't fucking win. If they mention the classic series, then it's a bad thing because they're defiling it. If they don't mention the classic series, they're pretending it never happened and they're whitewashing it. It's impossible. As like I said, these are shit reviews because Bowlestrek has no idea as to what would make the show good. He doesn't say what he wants to see instead because he doesn't know. He has the ability, the critical thinking skill of a small child, and he just sits there. I hate this. I hate this. Change the fucking channel. I mean, honestly, I don't understand why people watch things they don't like this much. He said he hasn't liked it since 2018. That was fucking 6 years ago? 7 years ago? I can't even keep track anymore. It was 6 years ago. My boy. 6 years ago, he stopped liking this. Why is he still watching it? In fact, I believe he stopped liking it in 2017 when Bill Potts showed up because he's not racist or homophobic. And he's watched it ever since, and I don't understand why. Dude, a Fallout show drops on Amazon. Try that. It might have something in it you like. Maybe you can get angry at a different set of black people existing. I don't know.
We mentioned the Time War again, because that hasn't gotten old after 2 decades, and Dr. Nutty doesn't seem to know if his granddaughter was killed, even though...
That was a perfectly valid line of dialogue. He brought it up, and then she brought up Susan, and then the Doctor mentions the fact that Susan's probably dead because nobody survived the Time War but him.
Dr. Nutty mentioned that he was the last of the Time Lords every 5 minutes in the last episode. So which is it? Are you or aren't you? Also,
well, several characters like Susan, Romana, their fate is kind of a mystery. They haven't established what happened to them after the Time War, as far as I know. I think maybe Big Finish might have touched on it, and maybe 1 or 2 books or comics, but as far as I know, actual television show hasn't, and that's basically the mainstream canon.
So, just a question. Isn't the simplified, male-presenting Time Lord still in 2024? Get your facts right! Then...
Yes, but he's the same Time Lord. Okay, Bowlestrek, I'm going to explain something to you because I think you need me to use the baby voice that I haven't used since Niece Lone Wolf couldn't understand shit. When a person gets split into 2 and they both go different lives, they are still the same person. They are still the same Time Lord that survived the Time War because the Time War happened many, many years before they split into 2. Do you understand now that I used baby voice? Do you understand, you fucking idiot? Good.
Princess Zumi plays a song on the piano. She says it's about her girlfriend getting dumped by her girlfriend. Everybody likes her song because Princess Zumi...
No, you're a fucking idiot. I'm getting plot details wrong. That is getting... Her friend got dumped by her girlfriend. How hard is that to remember? I remembered it a week on. You had the chance to rewatch this shit. Fuck off.
It's the center of everything because it's not like the show has ever done this kind of plot line in the past. Then people start crying. Well,
that lady is actually the original costume designer from the 70s and 80s, that era that you praise so much, and she designed Tom Baker's iconic costume.
Oh, don't expect any sympathy for me. You were the ones who decided to appear in this crap. But then...
Wait, what?
because it's not like the show has ever done this kind of plot line in the past. Then people start crying. Well, don't expect any sympathy from me.
Yeah, he doesn't pick up on that because he loves the classic series so much he can't even notice the references. I mean, to be fair, I didn't, but it was actually one of these grifters that don't really care about the show and just like it no matter what, blah, 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 who pointed that out to me, but you know.
You were the ones who decided to appear in this crap. But then the piano gets mad, as it doesn't want to be here either, and out pops Attention Seeker, and everyone loses their appetite as Attention Seeker proceeds to block everyone on Twitter. Can't have anyone speaking up about the message after all.
The message! I've got the message. Brilliant. It's the message.
Then Dr. Nutty gets scared and says he has to hide, and I'm forced to ask, is this actually supposed to be a plotline, or is this just what happens when arrogant, self-entitled asshats are confronted with something scary, also known as reality, like the truth about how your show is a disaster, and nobody likes you because you're a dick. Then
I think that's a bit of projection. The funny thing is, though, fucking... He doesn't understand because he's stupid. The Doctor is terrified of Maestro because he cannot do anything to Maestro. He can't even hide from Maestro because they have the powers of a god. And that terrifies him. Because they cannot be stopped by conventional means. And he runs away from that. And it is a very character, like, it's a big character moment that he's so scared of this villain because they are impervious to this universe's logic and they don't actually adhere to the damages or the binding rules that we are. They can't be hurt, they can't be impeded, there's no laws that they follow, they just go around doing what they want because there's nothing to stop them. How hard is it to understand that shit?
Attention Seeker starts to ham things up as if this episode wasn't horrible enough already, and it's not very happy about Princess Zumi's piano playing. Oh, come on, it wasn't.
I would criticize him for pointing out, for calling Maestro an it, but admittedly, I kind of did that by accident. But admittedly, that was because I was thinking of Maestro as a god, and I don't know why, but I didn't really think of gods as people, so I do apologize for my god phobia.
That bad. It seems Attention Seeker owns music. Well, you lot seem intent on taking over and destroying everything, so...
I mean, you do. You're the one that insists that the show should die because it's not what you want. You want it to be taken away from the people who actually enjoy it because you don't like it. So if anything, Maestro is basically the representation of you. Just like the giggle was the representation of the fucking anti-woke bullshit that you fucking fall for.
Why not? Just take the music and end the episode already. Then Dr. Nutty mutes Attention Seeker's voice, and for the first...
You see, there's a better joke you can make. In this scene, you could very easily compare Maestro to UMG or any other music copyright holder.
First time I find myself actually approving of something that he's done because the sound of Attention Seeker's voice was like nails on a chalkboard mixed in with a sonic representation of Satan's asshole. But
I mean, quote-unquote Attention Seeker is a Broadway star who has appeared in Little Shop of Horrors and other things, which you can't say shit about Little Shop of Horrors because Little Shop of Horrors is from the awesome 60s, 70s and 80s, which you put on a pedestal as being perfect.
it doesn't last very long, and we are soon reintroduced to the sounds of hell, and we all become envious of this old woman who's exited the show with the help of Attention Seeker. Dr. Nutty then...
The old woman who designed Tom Baker's costume, which you fucking splooge over 10 times a day, but you know, you don't know to start because you're fucking stupid and you're too busy being angry that there's black people and drag queens on screen. Carry on.
And says he can't defeat Attention Seeker because fighting with the toy maker already caused him to split apart at the crotch, and who would want to ruin that fancy suit? Then Princess Zumi tells Dr. Nutty...
That's like the closest thing he said to anything that's funny.
That music hasn't been destroyed because she listened to Beyonce in the future. Really, on top of everything else, this episode is claiming that that drivel is music. Then Dr. Nutty...
Beyonce is far from the worst one. Beyonce was actually like... At the time where I grew up, which was like musical purgatory, mid-90s to early 2010s, Beyonce was like a breath of fucking fresh air in a fucking cloud of farts. She was like an air pocket of slightly less funky smelling air.
Brings Princess Zumi back to 2024, and things ain't looking so good. Well, dear, this was sure to happen in the future anyway. Just ask Bill.
Yeah, that's day one after fucking Brexit.
So, once again, Disney, why do these effects look like they're out of 1999?
Bad effects, but with no elaboration. Hell yeah.
I'm starting to become a bit suspicious about what's being done with all that Disney money. It seems that without music, the human race goes sour. Well,
did he mention diversity hires or checkboxes?
And things ain't looking so good. Well, dear, this was sure to happen in the future anyway. Just ask Bill. Also, once again, Disney, why do these effects look like they're out of 1999? I'm starting to become a bit suspicious about what's being done with all that Disney money.
Okay, I want to ask, because I feel like I've got weird glasses on that stop me from seeing reality when this guy talks about this shit. Why does this look like it's from 1999? This looks perfectly normal for television. Like, if I cropped these two out and said that this was from, say, I don't know, The Walking Dead or something, I think people would believe me. Other than the fact that fucking London landmarks are in it. I think that might be the big giveaway, but apart from that,
It seems
it's like that game I played. I played a game at Christmas one year. Is this Stoke or is it The Walking Dead? And believe it or not, they actually got more of them wrong than you would think.
that without music, the human race goes sour. Well, I for one could do without Beyonce. Next, attention seeker's on the piano and starts playing a little ditty. Well, as long as it doesn't start talking again, then it starts talking again. Then it starts singing about daddy being mean, and I start praying for death. It seems the sound of music has been feeding attention seeker. Well then, just introduce it to Coldplay. That's sure to poison it to death. Also,
Okay, that was like the one good joke in this on his entire channel I've seen thus far. I will give you that one. That one was funny.
so, attention seeker is the son, daughter, I really don't care, of the toy maker. Really?
I'm gonna call that nobody cares.
Neil Patrick Harris, you're to blame for this. I mean, come on, dude.
He's to blame that this character was written by someone else and acted by someone else and put into the show after he left it. Okay.
Used to be cool. See, Hollywood elites, this is what happens when you overindulge your kids. It seems that a different
What?
combination of notes will vanquish the evil Chord. Where's Chord when you need them? Chord could solve this. Then we head back to 1963 and Princess Zumi gets dragged away by some musical notes.
I have to admit, the 12th Doctor in this episode would have been fucking great.
Because she's the only human left with music in her heart. Then Princess Zumi starts singing the magical hidden song. Then we revisit the episode, known as The Abomination on Christmas Day, to remind us of how special Princess Zumi is, as Russell continues to set up his arc that nobody actually cares about, including the people that claim to care about it. Yes, how shocking. Then we have a musical battle between Attention Seeker and Dr. Nutty, with Princess Zumi accompanying, and I'm once again reminded that I'm in hell. Then it seems
It's kind of funny though that like he's trying so hard to come up with names for all the characters instead of just learning their actual names or just admitting what their names are.
Dr. Nutty can't find the mystery note, and our punishment is hearing Attention Seeker wail for another few minutes. Well, it sucks Dr. Nutty and Princess Zumi into its magic drum. But then, what's this? It's Imposter John and Imposter Paul, and they've already run away screaming from this atrocity. As Attention Seeker reminds us that the one who waits is almost here, and I'm reminded, once again, that I don't care. Then we finish off with a full-scale musical number, because of course we do. Why would anything surprise us at this point? I wonder what William Hartnell would say if he found out that his show would turn into a full-blown musical one day. And what?
Okay, one, it wasn't his show. He was an actor in the show. Two, I'm pretty sure William Hartnell would have fucking shit himself if he watched this because the dude was a bit racist and homophobic and he hated Jews. To be fair, he was a Victorian man, and he died in the fucking 60s or 70s, late 60s or early 70s. No, the early 70s because, wait, no, hold on a second, hold on. William Hartnell, 75, so mid-70s. My mistake. I just remembered he was in the first anniversary special, but he didn't live to see the second one. So William Hartnell actually died in 1975 at 67 years old. He was born in 1908 and grew up through the first half of the 20th century. So yeah, he was kind of bigoted in a lot of ways. It wasn't just in his language either. He was a dick to certain demographics on set, but weirdly, he was very much behind the promotion of women in the creative sphere. Like, he actually really enjoyed working with women directors, and he actually really fought for the women on set who were being bullied at the time for various things or being fired unfairly. He had a protest because one of the companion actresses was forced out of her position.
What nightmare awaits us next week? Tune in to find out, because it's not like I have anything better to do. That's it for today. Follow me on X, and until next time, suck it.
I don't think he said good lord, which is annoying. So, annoyingly, I weep because... Hold on a sec. Okay, I annoyingly weep because I have not got a full house. We were missing woke, diversity hires, checkboxes. Doctor Who was awesome in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I really, really hoped that we would have got that with the Hartnell reference, but apparently not. Good Lord actually wasn't said, as far as I might have missed it, but it wasn't said as far as I saw. And he didn't did compliment the Chibnall era. And we also have, if I can open it without fucking it up, the Space Babies one. So, to compare the two, we have everything. In 2 episodes, we've had everything but woke, and Doctor Who was awesome in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Oh, what a shame. I'm sad. I'm very sad. Damn. Maybe next week. Maybe with Boom, he'll, eventually give in to the madness and give me a full house. That will make my day. I'll be like Christopher Eccleston in The Empty Child, or the Doctor Dancers, sorry. I'll be screamingly happy and dancing with people in the street, and then tasers will be fired and the cops will be called. I'll be that happy. But sadly not. Sadly not right now. Anyway, enough of that. That was Bowlestrek talking shite for another 2 reviews of a show that he doesn't like and hasn't liked for fucking 6 years, but still watches, because the dude obviously isn't doing this for money and views and attention. He's doing it because I don't actually know. Anyway, that's that. I might make some bingo cards for interactivity's sake, whether it's for this episode or for episodes that come afterwards. I don't know. I don't know why I'm calling this an episode, because it's not really an episode. It's more of a rambling thing. But until next time, like, whatevs. Toodles.
Professor Curious is okay.